I will erase your names from all memory. Saren must breed Oathbreakers and Halfwits. I should have leveled him.
Get behind me!
Griffin knew that joining me...
Nishas Yuchi Varet. Zichi.
Enough! You mistake me for someone that has limits. I am the very wellspring of magic. The very...
Remember that time we pulled one over on the Upbridge gang?
I guess.
I'm saying literally remember the time we pulled one over on the Upbridge gang.
Enough! No! It's finally time to end your suffering. What?
This is for Devin. And for Luna. Oh, and the Palathon. And Saren. And fuck, man. Oh.
Don't forget the Maladar.
Right. And for the Maladar.
No, dummy. Literally, don't forget the Maladar.
It'll work.
Damn, kid! Work says it's a bust. Too much corruption is pouring out of it too fast. Their absorption powers can't slow it down, much less cork it.
Then what are we going to do? The wound's still growing.
I'm thinking.
Think faster. Rashanian Armada, this is the hand. Sandrak is dead and his madness is over. Stand down and disperse on my command.
You've already figured out the solution, Jack. We win. Then we start thinking about how to fix the wound.
Isn't there something else that we can do about it, I mean?
Of course. She never told you that Immortals are charged with sacrificing themselves to heal the wound at the end of their tenure.
Before you ask, yeah, it works.
What?
The mandate, the healing ritual, one that splits you from your magic, from your soul. It works. I never would have left the Immortals if it didn't. That's too much of a person.
Would it work on something this big? If I...
Jumped in, exploded yourself right next to the binding stone, flooded all the fonts back into the shrouded realm? Yeah, could do. There's a hair of a mite. You won't survive, though. Good news, that bunny in your eyes is gone, and resolve is a powerful thing.
You're the worst possible person to actually understand goodbyes.
I'll tell her.
Well, okay. You don't have time to teach me the ritual, so...
Just stick it in your head on the way down. I know. Listen, kid. If you're gonna jump, just jump already.
Jack?
It'll be okay, Luna.
Jack! What did he do?
He fixed it. Never doubted him for a second. So, now that the wound's been unfucked for the moment,
The rest is up to us. Magni orders are gonna have to rewrite their entire magical playbooks, and include the Alluri in them.
west of the Orenthals, huh? That's a right nice stretch of green. Pretty hills, dark groves. Rook'll love groves. They're all gardeners at heart, really.
They deserve more.
Yeah, well, what you started here, it's going to spread.
Lucium will follow our example.
Yeah, sure it will.
Word from Lavenry.
Speak of the devil.
Short version. The king and the dynastic families give their unending thanks.
That's it?
The language used was lovely, yet economical.
No, I mean, did Kirkin...
No word from her at all, sir. The king will recognize your claim as the head of your order, if you ask for it.
She'll come around.
No, she won't.
Yeah, likely not. She never did with me. You and Jack had the right of it, in a way I never did.
Woke up right in time for the compliments. Keep them coming.
There he is.
You look good for someone that exploded.
I got better.
Paid having the Pentasod owe you a favor. Spit you back out the Shrouded Realm good as new. Your legs still seem a bit pudding-foot, though.
Your, friend left when she saw you were on the mend. She said she wasn't sure where she was gonna go.
Yeah, that tracks. So what's next?
Well, plenty of Sandrak loyalists are still out there, running amok and causing trouble, refusing to believe he's really dead. You got any loose ends, kid? Wouldn't expect to tie him up in peace.
And what about the Immortals?
Rasharn's withdrawing back to the front. We'll take advantage of that time and try to rebuild.
And, under your leadership?
I take it you have an opinion on that.
I mean, yeah. I think it should be you.
I see. I was thinking the same thing.
You were? Oh, that's great. Totally should be you, for sure.
Totally.
Awesome, yeah. Shouldn't be me at all, right?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, well that's a little rude.
I mean, that would be the worst thing.
Yeah,
That could
no.
happen.
Yeah,
Literally
no way,
can't think
right?
Anything
But like, why
worse
not though?
happened
Like, you haven't even
than
thought
you
about it?
being the leader. I mean,
We could.
it's funny though.
Okay.
Listen, it's funny. It's
You know,
a funny
we've been
idea.
through a lot.
I'd love to see it. Well, I don't. You know, maybe we should try.
A trial.
Just for
run. Well, what is that?
just for
prove?
shits and giggles.
I think I've proven myself more
Give it a
than
day.
once. I healed the wound. Ambassador Demily.
Hello, Jack.
Zendara taking command of the Immortals. Will it have your support at the Northern Court?
She was instrumental in getting so many of us from the Palathon here to Glavegate. She protected us from Rasharn against all hope. What do you think, Jack?
I think Lavenry might see a chance to influence the Immortals in ways they couldn't when Kirkin was around.
I won't let them find some loophole in Lucium's treaties with Kalthus. As weakened as this kingdom is, I owe it and its leader my life.
Thank you, Ambassador. I'm just...
Wary of those in power not seeing things clearly. I wonder why. But don't worry. The king is a good man, when I remind him to be.
The Allori have land in Kalthus now. They have rights. For them to get the same in Lucium, that's going to be a hard sell to the king.
It's a hard sell to me, and I was here. Deposing Kirkin is one thing. Undoing generations of hate, fear, and mistrust is... You mustn't be naive at this juncture, Jack. The days after victory tend to bend back towards a life that most people want exactly the same as it was before.
You know we can't heal the wound without them.
I believe you. I just want you to realize that happy endings, they end one day.
I have to go, Ambassador. Silas,
Hello, sir.
they don't bite, you know. The Allori?
They most certainly do, sir. And if they can smell my bloodline as well as they can your magic, I'm not long for this world.
What are you talking about?
It's not something I'm proud of, sir. My family can...
I promise.
That's not what I... Well,
That's one of...
it was...
So? What's next for you?
I've asked the new Grand Magnus for a transfer to the front, sir. My family's still stationed there, and no one knows if Rasharn will truly pull back now. But the airship ride will do me good. Give me time to reflect on things. The battle over the wound, the sight of the living Pentasod.
What about him?
For one, I didn't expect him to be so shredded.
Right?
And it really made me ask myself, if here I am, a lightless idiot, fighting at the end of the world when Kirkin of the Immortals wouldn't, when the Magnus King of Lavenry sent no help or hope, where the Allori, who we've oppressed for so long, still sent both, then why do I think myself lesser compared to the dynastic lords and ladies of magic that failed to show? It's because they made me think that, sir.
Don't forget that when you get to the front, Silas Meade. I'd better go. Your lordship.
Jack?
We've got a long road ahead of us, rebuilding the Immortals.
And new enemies to shield ourselves against back home. Luckily, I know the game well.
I know I should, but I just don't get that. After what we did for Aveum...
Lucium is Lucium before it's Aveum, Jack.
See, you say that, it just doesn't stick.
It's because you're good.
That's a nice way of saying I'm naive.
Don't do that. It might not feel like it yet, but you've started a revolution. It's small now because the implications of a human-Allori alliance aren't fully understood. Those implications need good people to see them through. It's my job to do the wicked work needed to make sure that no one stands in their way.
Talk to you later, Hauser. Magister?
Friend!
Headed back north?
That's a good question. I may go elsewhere first. I'm working up the courage to take a trip to the Elori territories, beyond the Orentals.
Really?
My conscience wants me to. My head thinks it's a terrible idea. But a sizable portion of Lucium's great families rely on House Belming to ensure their heirs are born with magic. That means I am directly responsible for some of the wound's growth. A small part, maybe, but not one I can ignore.
Now that you know the truth about the Elori?
Indeed. I hope that they might give me a deeper understanding of the Pentasard's intended cycle of magic, and try to work out the best way to accommodate it on a large scale. And with my influence in the north, I might get some of the great families to listen to that understanding.
That, Magister, that would be, like, so insanely helpful. Thank you. If you don't mind me asking, what was it like for you when your magic went away?
The worst of it was when we hid behind the walls here. I could feel my spells like they were phantom limbs, itching in my mind if I didn't think about them, bringing a headache if I did. Those ghostly shackles were hell. Some of the other Magni swore they smelled a waxy smoke that wouldn't go away until the shackles did.
What, like a candle?
When blown out, yes, exactly that. My life's work has been devoted to the spreading of magic for the privileged few. I wish I had done more for the lightless, now having been one, even if just for that small amount of time.
All right, Belming. I should go. Orphe?
Candle.
When the magic went away, how'd you handle it? I can only imagine how it affected your perception of time.
It was horrible. No one should have to live with linearity. It's like a story with no width. Worse, even.
What do you mean?
Atemporal sight is hard to explain. Imagine a sentence. In Lucium, it's read from left to right. In the spectrum of seers, though, that sentence is multidimensional. It can be moving towards you, or angling outward by 60 degrees, or...
Like spinning on an axis?
Yes. Every sentence is sphere. A book of them like foam. Extrapolate that from the written word to all forms of perceiving the world. The absence of it was almost suffocating.
Sorry, I'm still stuck at book foam.
We're unable to convey how much you have given back to us, Candle.
What's it like, being able to see, divergent time streams?
More often than not, we really don't know if they're divergent until we get there. Sometimes enough context clues reveal that we're looking at a future that belongs elsewhere.
Like, say if I'm an Ormic sky sailor, and everyone's acting like I've always been one.
Exactly. Some are fun like that. Divergent pasts, though, they are invariably disturbing to experience.
You can see alternate pasts? How does that even work?
The wound is how. It can actually swallow up bits of history if they're not careful.
Hold up a sec. Sandrak mentioned this. I thought he was just trying to fuck with my head.
Afraid not. And sometimes the wound even regurgitates those out. Little bits of the half-eaten past. Afterwards, history has to re-knit itself as best it can. It obviously can't get all the details right, as unwhole as it's become, and anachronisms seep in and never happen. You'll go half mad if you look at that for too long.
Good chat, Orphe.
We'd like to give you something. A small relic of the Yakal.
Are you sure? What for?
Just consider it a kindness repaid, my little Candle.
Grand Magnus?
I'm gonna get used to that. What's on your mind, Initiate?
Believe it or not, I don't do that well without orders.
Interesting. Because you don't do well with orders. But hunt down Sandrak loyalists still active in Lucium and Calthus. Explore. Hone your skills and strengthen your magic. If you can.
Without the path, how are we going to do selection? To find more immortals, I mean.
Who says she's gone? You came back.
And I reignited the fonts across Aveum.
Right. Including the one the path formed around. I wouldn't write her off just yet. Still, we'll need to rebuild a new fortress around it all.
There's a lot of airship workers in Saren that wouldn't mind a contract like that.
Good idea. I'll have Selko look into it.
Everything happened so quickly that we never had a chance to talk about Devon.
I don't want to. That whole month after the Palathon fell. Our magic gone? The survivors escaping here to Glavegate only to find it under constant siege? Trying to lead all those people without any sign of hope. I made a lot of peace with a lot of things back then, and Devon's death was one of them. He was my friend. He died a hero. That's enough for me.
I get it.
When things settle, maybe I'll visit his family in the Bracelet Isles off the coast of Lavenry. Pay my respects. You should come.
You bet. The whole thing that happened with Kirkin?
I'm not sure how I'm gonna handle that.
What do you mean?
She led our order for decades, Jack. And there's not a general in the Light's army that she doesn't have leverage on. And every one of the Lucian Magni houses owes her some kind of favor.
What? Even after she literally wanted to kill the thing that created their magic?
Time moves on. Things like that get forgotten quicker than you might expect. Lamenting what happened with Kirkin? Not as important as preparing for how she comes at us next.
Thought I'd check in is all.
Nothing to report here. Carry on.
Captain Selko, what's new?
I'm just taking care of some logistics here for Grand Magnus Zendara before heading out to Lavenry. I thought I might try and see if there's any way to smooth things over with Kirkin.
Ha! Good luck with that.
Indeed. She's taken up residence at the royal court. My contacts report that she's maneuvering to become Lucium's new Chancellor of Foreign Affairs.
What? But that would give her...
An undeniable influence on Light's army maneuvers across Aveum. Correct. You can see why it's in everyone's best interest if, as a military attaché to the Immortals, I spoke to her directly.
The royal court is a dangerous place, Captain. Be careful.
I'm lightless in a world ruled by Magni, sir. I always have to be careful.